Loading and live. What's up? Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to
Can
be here
you
together.
introduce what a quote also?
Oh,
Sick.
thank you. Yeah, I got it from this Palestinian fundraising event in San Francisco at this place called, I think, the Hummingbird House.
It's friggin' tight.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Very cool. Shout out to the Hummingbird House. Can you
Yeah, yeah.
introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, I'm Sarah Sadek. I live in San Francisco, and I'm a mother, an activist, an educator. I'm just trying to do the good work.
And a Substacker.
Yeah, I'm a Substacker. I write Sarah Sadek's Field Notes, which used to be called Folk Weaver.
Why'd you change it? What was folk weaving, and now what are your field notes?
Yeah, it's all the same. I just felt like I couldn't just keep myself to one identity. I think that so often on the internet, so we have to like confine ourselves to a brand and be like one singular person in the world. And I felt like my name was probably the most expansive, fluid way I could exist on the internet, not having to box myself in. I have many, many projects and multiplicities. I wanted to be able to capture all of them.
Yeah, so I'm obsessed with this. Can't stop thinking about and writing. I'm reading this book about trees, and something that trees do is
Mm,
they gnarl. Um, and gnarling is that trees are they don't necessarily let go. They kind of like dip themselves in wax, and they put a layer on top of an injury or a wound, or basically every tree you're seeing is 90% dead, but it just puts another layer of wax on it. That's how it becomes
mm,
thick and stable and can live for thousands of years, and it gets gnarly and it curves, and it just is constantly adjusting. And I've been thinking that because I, like every human, have many seasons and multitudes.
mhm.
There's the actor who wants to be on TV and is on TV, and there's the guy who wants to live in a cabin and never talk to anyone, and there's the husband, and there's the writer, and there's the hermit, and there's the athlete. And I think we have to choose our identities, but we can gnarl with
Mhm.
them. Like they can become part
Mm,
of the wax that we dip inside of us.
mhm.
Like we don't have to let go of a part of us. We just like get dipped in wax, become more gnarly, um,
I
become
love
more
that.
epic.
That's such a good image. Just like becoming more gnarled as we become. I always think of myself as like an elder in the making, right? Like this like gnarly, gnarled elder. I love that image.
And then, even not even in the making, like, in the Buddhist scheme, in the made for over centuries,
Mm,
like not in the making, like an elder that
yeah.
has been made, that just got another opportunity
Mm,
to like
mm,
to have young flesh.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I feel that. That feels really real.
yeah.
Yeah.
What are you? Okay, so you're not folk weaving. You're giving field notes. What are you excited about? What are the notes that are interesting you or exciting you?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I think like folk weaving is always going to be part of me, right? I think that that is like a gnarled bit of my existence that is just how I like move through the world and how I move through community, weaving people and stories together and figuring out how to live in this life amongst each other. I think field notes feels maybe a little bit humbler, like I'm just documenting this process I'm on, and so much of what I write about is mothering radically and how to live and exist in this chaos of modern motherhood, which is like so focused on the nuclear family, so focused on isolation, so focused on like just jumping through these impossible hoops to carry this mental load that is not how one is supposed to mother. We're supposed to do it woven in community. And so Substack was a place I went when I was really burnt out. It was like mid COVID, just wound out down my DEI consultancy because I couldn't figure out how to mother very small humans and run a consulting firm at the same time during COVID, right? I was 7 months pregnant with my youngest when COVID hit. So Substack was like really the place that I went to kind of grapple with some of these questions, like how are we to mother in community amidst like burnout and isolation and this like chaos that capitalism and white supremacy and patriarchy has inflicted upon motherhood, right? um,
And how do you
so
mother in community?
yeah, we just have to almost like build the bridge as we run across it right now because we're not most of us, I was born and raised in a very extended nuclear family. My family is Egyptian. I grew up in Egypt till I was 6, between Saudi and Egypt. And when I came to when I was pregnant in San Francisco, I looked around and I was like, oh, I have no village. Like
Mm.
my parents aren't here. I don't have community that is like going to be here and raise my babies with me. And I think so much of my instinct was like, okay, we have to build it, like I have to find the people. We have to build the village together as we parent. So we didn't have the luxury of like, yeah, just being held by the elders and the aunties and the sisters and the siblings to teach us the ways. We had to kind of find the other mothers who were also isolated and build together. So much of my mothering experience has been rooted in that lens, like let's do it in community. We are not meant to do this in isolation. And now this last year, that took many forms. We created a play group that turned into a forest school cooperative. My background is in education, and so my instinct was like, how do we raise our babies? How do we raise them with consciousness? How do we raise them in liberation? How do we raise them with connection? And how do we create microcosms of the world that we want to exist in the world with our children? And so that took many forms, like facilitating mothers groups, connection parenting circles for new families, running this like cooperative forest school. And then COVID hit and like community just fell away, right? Like it was like forced contending with nuclear family again. And then just rebuilding, right? Like it's like the birth, death, birth cycles of all of it. And now my kids are in this like microcosm of a little alternative school, and I have a little breath, and I'm running this different experiment of like what it means to reimagine nuclear family outside of this like construct. How do I create some more freedom and space in our unit for me?
Now, nuclear family, when you keep saying that for
Yeah.
folks, it's mom, dad, child.
Yeah, for me, 2 kids. And it's a pretty new invention, right? Like we historically as humans have
Nuclear
lived.
family is a new invention.
Yeah, like 3 generations, 4 generations ago, we lived with our aunties and uncles and nannies um and siblings, and we lived in our with our people. We had people to teach us how to nurse our babies. We had people to hold our babies so we could take a nap. And um I think it's doing a disservice to all of us to be that isolated, but especially to mothers who are then expected to be the social safety net for our entire society, right? Like think about what happened during COVID, how many mothers had to leave the workforce to be the safety net for our babies,
So I'm working on a piece right now about like death and dying. And in this book I was reading, it's not very long in our history of humans where we are so disconnected from death. And this relates to nuclear family in the sense that because you had your aunties and uncles and grandparents and your grandfather and your grandmother was in your home, or they moved back into your into their kids' homes, or there are generations, many more generations of people who witnessed death, who witnessed decline.
Yes.
Then now we don't. It's actually pretty far off. There are probably not many young people who are watching their aging grandparent or elder pass away.
Yeah. I think that's so, and I think our society specifically does so much to avoid the death part of the cycle, because hypercapitalism is just growth, right? Like it is just growth. Like we are not to contend with the death part. We are not to slow down. We are not to rest. We are not to decline. We are not to transition, right? And I think those are really related. Like hide the death, like diminish elders and like what they carry, like all the sacred knowledge that they carry, like isolate them from the rest of community. Like we don't contend with that. We don't look at it. We don't care for our elders, right? And I think it's so reflective of a society, how we treat death, how we treat elders, and how we treat children, right? Like
Mm.
the litmus test for our society should be those things. How do we treat the most vulnerable? How do we treat those like just coming into this world and leaving this world? And so to think about how are we meant to care for people who are transitioning? How are we meant to caretake those that are dying? And how are we to fold that into our life and into our everyday? How do we normalize it for our kids? How do we normalize it for ourselves? How do we make sure people have dignity as they pass? Those are
Yeah.
all really good questions, right?
I don't have I only have an observation that like when I do theater,
Yeah.
a lot of old people come to the theater.
Mhm.
Um, theater and a lot of art is primarily still funded by an older generation,
Mm,
which is just reality. And
yeah.
the cost of living is just different,
Yeah.
Uh, and the theater and many art forms are grappling with this, like, what do we do? What do we do when this certain generation passes on?
Yeah.
And I bring this up because of what you said about like we don't maybe make space or honor our youth or our elders. And I found myself when I was doing a play not too long ago, I went out and I was like really upset that no one looked like me and it was just a bunch of old people.
Mm.
I mean, the house was full, but I was what is like
Who is this audience?
what are people what are we doing? What am I like? Where are the people who look like me? Where are you?
Mhm.
Um and I was mad. I found that I was like, I'm angry. And then I thought to myself, oh, how much would it suck when I become old? Should I have that blessing to go see art and to have a performer be mad at me because I'm old?
Mm.
And my director of the piece was saying, what you're observing is this world really isn't made for before 18 and after 42. He was like,
Mhm.
that's kind of what the world was built for. And then we start to push everything else to the peripheries. And the further you get from
Mhm.
those numbers, the less you are counted, really cared about, listened to. Uh, and and I was like, oh shit, am I in the trap? You think you're one with it, and then you're like, oh no, I too am ageist in my own way. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, that story is so telling, right? Because no matter how much work we've done to liberate ourselves from the system, we're all still swimming in it, right? And I think about this all the time when contending with how I'm raising my kids and trying to raise them with this lens of liberation. And that, like, fundamentally means that I have to do my inner work every day, right? Like, I have to be continually excavating, like, what I came into mothering them with. And this such a good example of this is my something I've been really trying to teach them is like they don't have to wait to make and create and imagine until some future time. They are creators and artists and prolific. They have access to prolific imagination and capacity now.
mm,
And oftentimes we think of kids as like preparing for some like future state of being a worker. Which is such bullshit, right? Like they exist in such unbridled imagination now. And um so much of schooling actually like deadens that in them. And what
yeah.
I'm trying to do is like push all of the pressures for them to conform, to be someone else, to fit this mold out enough for them to realize that they have access to themselves and their imaginations now. And so my eldest, it's really cool to watch her grow into herself with that mentality because she knows she's like making stop motion animation videos. She's like, I have this Rainbow Cat animation studio. It exists now. I get to make and create stories under that title now, right? Like she knows that she is a maker. And she was really struggling with spelling. And for a bunch of years, we like tried tutors and all the tools out there, and nothing was working. And she just kept being like, we should just make it. And I was like, that is, I love that that's where their brain goes, right? Like, we should just make it. And we finally just did. We sat and like opened a Replit account and like made a tool
Cool.
that works for her. And now we're like going to share it with other people in the fall. But that's where her instinct is like I think the work right now, I think I've heard you talk about this in other conversations you've had, is like protecting our right to imagine a different world.
Oh, yeah.
And like to not be inundated with this idea that like only these people can create, and we can only create within these parameters, right? Like the circle just keeps getting smaller, and then we start to put cages around our own imagination of what's possible, right?
And I think that's deeply, deeply related to just the stream of shit, quite frankly, and the stream of content and the
absolutely.
Imagination requires spaciousness.
Mm-hmm.
It requires listening. It requires boredom. And people who have billions and billions and billions of dollars and the smartest people in the world, their whole job is to take your time and to take your attention, which is to steal your imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is worth protecting. You know, it's an aggressive term, but I do call it like a genocide of the imagination. And it is what is happening. And I also think there is research to support that. Like, we don't have the kind of genius we once had.
Mm-hmm.
This genius, this calling of your spirit, what is my genius? It requires you to be alone in that sense, to not be watching videos left and right, to not it requires, when you're bored, you know, like your beautiful child, to say, let's do it, let's make it.
Yeah and to have I think there's such a link to how complacent we are with the systems we live in, and how little time we have to think for ourselves. There's a direct correlation to that, right? Like when we are plugged into the vortex, we're plugged into this thing that is feeding us just an onslaught of content. We can't think for ourselves enough to be like, hey, none of this is okay.
Yeah.
Right? Like none of what we're doing is okay, actually. And it requires like actually like unplugging ourselves from it and being like, okay, who I am is not what social media tells me I need to be. Like I get to construct myself outside of that story, right?
Unplugging becomes extra difficult when people have been conditioned. The speed at which things move is wild.
Yeah.
Like, you think about green pants and your phone shows you green pants. It's unreal. It's and so if I were to tell someone you need to do less, you know, less is more, or unplug, even if they're not verbally saying this, they're anticipating that the results of the unplugging will come instantaneously. I didn't look at my phone for an hour. I should have my enlightenment. You know, like I detoxed for one day. I should be. My idea didn't come to me. You know, our relationship to time in that spaciousness is very counterintuitive to, you know, what you used as hypercapitalism, and because of the instantaneousness of it all, the way in which like even terrible things that happen in the world are just drowned out by the next terrible thing. Like we can't even sit with chaos or depravity or destruction or harm in that way because of the news stream, because of the speed. And so I think to anyone listening, it's like when anyone I think speaks of unplugging, my invitation is you can't rush that. Like that cannot be tied to the way everything else works. It has to be slower.
And it's so tricky as artists and creatives, right? Because the distribution platforms are um, anathema to how we create. Like, it is very hard to be a creative and to write deeply and to take the spaciousness and the time to write like a thoughtful essay, and then to have to plug into the distribution channels that are just an onslaught to promote, right?
Yeah.
Like those modes are like actually in contradiction, and you actually can't, in this world, like I haven't figured out or seen an artist that is creating and also not necessarily plugged into the distribution channels. So that I'm curious how you contend with it as an artist. Like, how do you manage, that the distribution channels are what they are, and that they're actually in contradiction to the mode you need to be in to create?
Yeah, it's I wanted to write that down. Sorry.
Yeah. Go.
It's terrible. It's like the vein of my existence, and
Mhm.
it's very hard. It's very hard. I think I was thinking of, this is why I like having a dog. I like having a dog for many reasons, but when you go on a walk with your dog, if you don't bring your phone, it's great. It's a great excuse to just walk. Like, let your dog smell things. It slows down things. And I was thinking to myself on my walk with my dog, it is some sort of curse to choose to be born in this time and be an artist.
Yeah. Yeah.
To add, in a world that's celebrating product so deeply, not art, but
Yeah.
product.
Yeah.
Fast fashion, Forever 21.
Mhm.
In a world that conflates virality with art,
Mhm.
confuses virality with art, and so how I contend with it is, I think I just try to have a healthy awareness. I try to have I have a pretty strict relationship with the social medias.
Mhm.
I one day hope I have the courage to abandon them altogether. I'd be lying if I said they don't bring me some sort of monetary value. Like, that's my main engagement with them, is that in
Yeah.
some way they provide me ways financially to do other things I want to do and make.
Yeah, that's real.
They have their own like little, it has its value that I still haven't figured out or have the courage. I don't think it's about figuring it out. I think it's about having the courage to just say
Mm.
no and say, I will find another way. I will make another way. And that is something I do think about and meditate on often, is having that courage, uh, which I'm like so deeply plugged in that, of course, it's like, God, it's one thing not to have it on your phone, but I download it here and there to post or share something.
Yeah.
But it's a whole other to be like, I'm not going to give two people my power, my money, my attention. Two people, being the owners of these fucking companies that are like slowly taking over the world.
I know. It's really painful. And I think I want to normalize like the struggle for artists, because it is now the main distribution vehicle. Like, if you talk to a publisher, right? Like, they say, how many followers do you have? That's like one of the first questions they ask you.
It's crazy.
And like, who are you? How many followers do you have? It's like that those things become equated with one another. And that's just such a sign of the times. Like, it's like if a tree falls in the woods, right? Like, and nobody hears it. That's like if you write, but you don't exist on social media, do you exist as a person? And that's the question that people are like legit asking if you're trying to sell any of your art. And we just have to contend with that reality, right? Like, we can wield it strategically or we can forego it, but foregoing it also means foregoing distribution. And so I haven't figured out an answer, but I'm so hopeful. I think like my actual theory of change has become that we need to build alternative systems. Like, we can't keep being plugged into these toxic, nefarious systems, nor can we expect them to incrementally change. We have to build, we have to hospice out this old world, and we have to birth aligned systems. So we have to birth a distribution channel for artists that is ethical and values aligned and liberation based at its core, right? Someone needs to do that. Like, we need to figure out how to do that. We need to birth education systems that like are rooted in liberation. We need to birth, elder care. Like, what if we birthed elder care that's like next to a preschool and that's also a co-working space? Like, we need to like imagine different ways of existing and just build these experiments into being
Yeah.
as models for how we can actually live differently than we live right now. And that's true across every industry, every sector, every way we organize ourselves.
I think there's a triangle of conflict, like, which is actually really good. If you're ever writing a TV show, you want a triangle of conflict. And the three-sided triangle of conflict for artists right now is artist. Like, am I an artist if no one sees it? Am I an artist if no one pays for it? And so that's like, artist is like one end of the triangle, and then the other point of the triangle is money, unfortunately, because when you choose to make money off of something you love, like all artists, I imagine at some point were doing what they got paid for free. And then when you like started making money off of the thing you loved, your relationship to it changed, and you wanted more of it. And you didn't want to do the other little jobs you did, and you were like, "Oh shit, I could do this full time." Sick. So I think money is that other thing.
Yeah.
And then there's the ego of being seen and being validated, not by who you are as a person. I think a lot of artists experience this. Like, we all, in some sense, do need to be reminded that we are worthy, and we make art to so someone can say, "That's good," like, or "I see myself. You are worthy." And those three are in constant dance. Like, that's the conflict. Like, would you still be an artist if you lived in a cabin, made no money off of your poetry, and no one ever read it, but you got joy from making it? I think you would be. But the forces that be tell you that the other two ingredients are the ingredients that make you who you are.
Yeah, and especially like thinking about the money one specifically, and thinking about this seismic shift we're just starting to enter around like unemployment rising, and like, AI and tech like really shifting the field around like who is going to be employed, and no safety net to catch us, right? There is an opportunity for things like universal basic income to be the net. And if something like that existed, what does that do for an artist, right? Like, what does that do? Right? Like, all of a sudden, that like chasing safety, which capitalism makes all of us do, whether we identify as artists or not, like the chasing safety, all of a sudden, like, our nervous systems can be like, okay, I am safe. Like, now what? I am safe. Now what? Now can I just create my art? You're still contending with your ego, right? Like, it lands differently to be on a stage for like people our age who look like us and perform your art than it does to like be in a room of elders, right? Like, we're still contending with, what does my ego want, and who does my ego want to be seen by?
Yeah.
But like, just even eliminating that, like, there is something so core to the artist's tension around like basic safety and our ability to create. And I feel that all the time. Like, what am I creating? Who am I creating it for? Does this grant me safety? If not, what other ways can I get safety so that I can keep making? What are the trade-offs between what I make so that I can be financially safe, right?
Especially when lattes cost $7.50.
Oh my God, yeah. Don't even talk about San Francisco rent, man. It's
crazy.
It's so wild, yeah.
You are doing things in education still.
Yeah.
So what are you excited about?
Yeah, so right now this spelling learning tool that my kiddo and I started creating, I a fellow parent and friend, Russ, has like deep dived into language research, and it's called spaced repetitions. It's like memory science work. And so once her and I built a prototype and shared it with friends and family, and it was like supporting our friends in learning to spell too, we were like, oh, this can be like a real thing.
Is
So
it a game?
yeah, it's like a 15 to 20 minute a day, like pretty like people have called it like calm or like flow state meditative, like really like not super gamified. She built this like creature universe and realm. It's called Wyla, where like you're waking the slumbering creatures.
Oh,
And so you like spell words and get them right. And then like at the end you like wake a creature, but it's pretty different than I'm calling, I think it's like pretty rooted in like my values of ethical like tech. Like I don't think like so much of what's out there for kids right now is like a video game disguised as education. And it's like very not that. It's very much like we're trying to get like her and I were like, she wants to learn these how to spell first. And like the creature is like this like magical thing that she gets at the end. But um yeah, mostly like how do we create tech that is like inherently like centered in the learning and not in fluff. And like how do we make it potent so that kids can like spend the rest of their time in their unhurried childhood and not like
mhm.
spend 2 hours a day on a computer like zombieing out, you know? So yeah, we're going to launch that in the fall, and I'm excited to just get it into more kids' hands. My kiddo like really struggled with like she's really imaginative, and spelling was like slowing down her ability to take her ideas and put them on paper. And so in the same way that motherhood has this cognitive load that like limits our ability to imagine because the mental labor takes up so much time, it distracts us from our ability to imagine. I think kids who are like really struggling with the mechanics of writing or reading, like that is cognitive labor that takes away their ability to imagine. So I think our goal here, like her and I and my co-founder Russ, our goal is like, can we actually just like free kids from the cognitive load so they can imagine and create and read and write freely, so they can like take their prolific ideas and put them on paper?
If people listening are like, yo, this is tight, I would like to be a part, I would like to play it, or I don't know about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
What do they do? Where do they go? How do they
Yeah,
play?
you can go to wyla.app,
Yeah.
wyla.app,
Cool.
and there's a wait list up right now, and we'll hopefully launch this fall.
Right.
And some folks are beta testing it right now. So if anyone's super eager, has similar kids that like mine who are just like super imaginative but struggling to like get words on paper, or like even struggling with reading and wanting more automaticity with that, feel free to reach out. I know you do a ton of stuff with education too, Chris. I'd love to hear more about
Yeah.
your projects and like how
mean,
they're going.
maybe related to spelling, like
Yeah.
mainly around reading and literacy, which I guess is directed to spelling. And
Yeah.
so our work over here is just trying to get youth reading, specifically books by bodies of culture, like stories they can see
Yeah.
themselves in. No shade on To Kill a Mockingbird, but I just don't think like our young people these days are trying to read that. And
Yeah.
I know so many beautiful, brilliant authors and bodies of culture who youth should be engaged with.
Yeah.
And so I've been providing high schools opportunities to engage, one with books, and we'll do like storytelling workshops, but also with some of these other authors who want to lead workshops and things. And it's been really cool, completely sort of word of mouth, trying to apply for grants, but that's like just a hard, annoying game.
Yeah.
And so high schools will just reach out, and then like some private people will pay to have like 300 books delivered to a school. And
that's so cool.
A couple of statewide curriculums have used Brown Enough in their schools. And it's just been really beautiful to witness. And now we're doing this thing with Audible, where they're giving out free Audible memberships to youth. And that is like a way of saying, okay, if you don't want to read, you can't read, maybe you want to listen, and maybe the listening can be a companion to the reading. And so that, to me, because I just think like if we're not reading, it directly ties to the erosion of our democracy.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't agree more. I think that there's such a link to our decreased attention spans and our inability to hold our attention through a book, right? And a lack of understanding of our rights and a lack of ability to think critically about the world around us. And part of why, I think spelling for spelling's sake is like not that interesting. I think spelling as a means to become a better reader, because like the more words you commit to memory, the like more you're actually able to fluently read a book. I think that's actually an unlock, right? And I think that that's the same for writing. Like kids need to know how to communicate critically and effectively. That is like writing is like being able to wield language is a really powerful tool.
Yeah.
And so whatever we can do, like I don't we need to get kids to like really understand the like power and possibility of language and reading and writing, and really empower them through like exactly what you're doing, right? Like giving them books that they can relate to and see themselves in, because that by itself is like was so missing from our childhoods, right? Like from our own adolescence. So like for kids to grow up with the being able to see themselves in a page is such a shift. It's really needed.
Yeah, so hopefully it keeps going. Yeah, it has gone, and I hope it keeps going, and all with the intention of I want young people to also tell their stories. Like I want them to imagine.
Yeah.
I started writing this thing. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah.
That has really helped me kind of understand, like why books and I said, books contain knowledge, and knowledge can give rise to new ideas, and new ideas can shape a new ethos, and a new ethos can guide new actions, and new actions can create entirely new worlds. And I think
I just got goosebumps.
I think we could use a new world.
Yeah. It's ours to build, and I really think if anyone's watching this and gets nothing else out of it, like reclaiming our attention to imagine something different is like the most important thing we could all be doing right now. Like unplug enough, like not like unplug your attention, but unplug your imagination from what others are like. We should not be limiting our own imaginations of what's possible.
Yeah.
Right. We can build something different.
I mean, that's a beautiful, strong end. But if, as we sort of head towards the end, any last things you're thinking about, interested in, any questions for me? How can folks also engage with you besides the app, which I'll have listed, I'll have written out? Yeah.
I write weekly on Substack. It's Sarah Sadek's Field Notes, and I think it's just sarahsadek.substack.com. And you can find me on Instagram too. I think it's just Sarah_A_Sadek. And I'm always thinking about this intersection between our connection and our freedom, right? Like what I think we cannot be free alone. That's not real. That's not real freedom. That's isolation. And that's how freedom is often packaged. Like we are freed in connection with one another. And so the more, right now I'm in this chapter of like the way my art and the modality I'm using is tech. And so I'm like, okay, but I need to find the people that are building in tech who are liberation based and ethical and values aligned. And when I'm in education spaces, I'm looking for the same. I'm looking for people who are reimagining education from a lens of liberation. When I'm in writing spaces, I'm seeking connection with people who are writing from places of liberation. So if that's you, if you're in any of those circles, if you're a mother, an activist, an educator, if you're building tech products and are thinking about how to do it ethically, like reach out. I want us to build these budding ecosystems of care together. I'm wondering how you move through your communities and spaces, Chris, to build those same pockets of, of people who are similarly seeking.
Yeah, I was watching the World Cup last night, We went to this place we've been supporting, and we're watching Mexico. And a friend of mine was in town from San Francisco working, and another friend was in from France. And I had a couple of buddies I went to college with, and then a guy I knew from around the corner. And two of my friends were speaking who didn't know each other, and they said, "Hey, who do you know?" And he said, "I know Chris." And I was, "I know Chris. How you know Chris?" And one of them said, "Chris is the glue," and the other one said, "Chris is a great connector," and I am, like, no holds bar. Like, I love people meeting people. I love others' geniuses, being able to dance with others' genius. Like, I travel a lot. I'm like never really in one place too long. I'm always working. I'm grateful to work. And so when I end up going out in the world, I try to get a lot of people together so that I can just knock it all out at once. And I just, and so I think for me, as a Buddhist, I know my liberation is tied in your liberation. Like, I need others to thrive so I can thrive. If the soup tastes good, it's good for all of us. If it's poisonous, it's poison for all of us. It's one soup, one pot. So that's like on a spiritual, larger level. And then on a personal level, I just want to be surrounded by love. And so I want to put love in the world, and I want to make people feel loved. And when they feel loved, I feel loved, and they can love all my friends, and they can become friends. And like, the highest compliment I think I have in this life is I lead the occasional like retreat, like Dharma retreat. And or let's say I'm doing a play, like the goal of my live theater is for people to fall in love with each other, and they do.
That's so beautiful.
I like create spaces where people find new people to love.
That's really, really beautiful. It's such a what a way to move through the world. Like, think about if more people move through the world in that way.
Yeah, there's a director. What does he say? What's he say? He says, this director I know, Daniel Banks, he says, "What's love got to do with it?" That song, and he goes, "Everything."
It's got everything to do with it.
Everything.
It is the undercurrent of all of it, right? Like, if we can see and love each other in our fullness, our wholeness, that's so much of what we've been talking about has been kind of on this plane, but there is the spirit plane that is like underneath all of it, right? Like that is what is like seeing your light, you seeing my light. We're here in connection, talking to each other. We're trying to connect others in that goodness. Like, how are we building a world of goodness where our lights can actually thrive, shine?
Yeah. So true. Also, all this stuff I'm doing on death right now just reminds me that I don't want to waste my time on social media. I want to waste my time doing things and with people I love. It's like, it is time. Your clock is running out. So.
Yeah. And then also we can stretch each second of time, right? Like, social media, you can be on it for a half hour and not even notice 30 minutes have passed. And then you're like with your dog looking at a flower, and that like minute, it can be infinite, right? Like, because your attention is with the flower and your dog and the smell and the senses. And those seconds are sacred. Those minutes are sacred. We don't need to waste them.
Yeah. Well, amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. So nice to talk with you.
I appreciate you. And we will we'll run back an episode 2.
Yeah.